Ahoy, hoy, friends. Welcome to the Salon. The LA heat wave is past us, but we had an earthquake today, so I'm shaking it up. That is the best, and I hate it still anyway, segue I have ever done. Welcome to the Salon. I'm going to bring up our panel in just a moment. But before we got started, I wanted to share some fun announcements about some happenings with the Salon. First and foremost, I want to remind folks that we have a brand new website, fresh as of about a week or two ago. There you can find highlights. You can find the links to all of our social media. You can find more information about the panel that I'll be bringing up in just a moment. I also want to remind folks that we are now on Spotify, and we will be on other listening platforms in the coming weeks. And we have also joined Patreon. And thank you to everybody who has already joined. Really excited to have a new way of engaging with the community. Patreon.com/Salon Trek. We've got a free community tier where folks can participate in polls about different content that we'll be doing. And we've got two levels of support, a $2 and a $5. All of this stuff is just to help cover the basic costs of the Salon: website hosting, Canva, StreamYard, the thing that we use to broadcast to YouTube and record us for Spotify. So if you can throw in a couple of dollars, we appreciate it. You've got some fun bennies there, including at the $5 level. We're going to start doing some fun bonus content. Starting with this month, we are going to do sort of a watch along of a to be determined favorite episode of someone on the Salon. So there is a poll live now. Anybody can participate, including the free tier. So please go sign up there and help decide what the next bonus content will be for those $5 supporters. And again, thank you to folks who already signed up. We really appreciate it. So again, salontrek.com. You can find all those links. Follow us, share, like, and subscribe on YouTube and all of the places. It helps us immensely. Can't tell you how much we appreciate it. I also wanted to remind folks that with the upcoming presidential election, we have decided to, as a Salon, stand firmly with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in their race to become the 47th, in her race to become the 47th president of the United States. You can find more information about why we chose to take this step, even as a small Star Trek podcast. The future matters, and we believe Kamala Harris is the best choice to nudge us ever so slightly towards that Trek future. More information on our website, salontrek.com/Harris, including ways that you can be involved, double checking your voter registration, making sure that you're registered at your current address, signing up to vote by mail, ways to support the campaign, etc. So all of that information is out there, and we hope you will join us in supporting Kamala in this coming election and vote up and down that ballot. With that, I want to bring our panel in and start our discussion today. We are talking about Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, now on Netflix. Stream it now. We are talking about episodes 17 and 18 tonight. But in order to do that, I got to bring up the best crew this side of the galaxy. I'm going to start with Joanne. Joanne, welcome. How are you doing this evening? Welcome back to the panel.
Hello. I'm doing well. I don't even know what day it is. I'm well. I'm well.
Well, welcome. Let me bring up Krista. Krista, welcome back to the panel. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Excellent. I'm going to bring up Will. Will, sir, how are that eye behind you? Will, how are you?
Absolutely miserable.
Love it. Love it. And welcoming back to the panel after a brief hiatus of however long it's been. Welcome back, Sohail. Sohail, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty great. I'm disembodied at the moment, but
Beaming in.
It's just like Star Trek, so
Love
feeling
it.
good about it. And I'm excited to be back. Yay.
Yes, welcome back. And of course, my co-host Trevor. Welcome back, Trevor, to the right spot. How are you doing?
Sober so far.
Huzzah. Well, let's see if we can fix that. Cheers, everybody.
The unfortunate thing about being disembodied is you can't see that I'm drinking a rosé champagne.
Love it.
So I'm drinking right now, but you can't tell.
Are you allowed to drink on the Polar Express?
As long as it looks like hot chocolate, I think you're allowed to have it.
Yeah, there you go.
One hopes. One hopes.
You made
Well,
me phase, Will.
He hears that a lot.
Yeah, need to pay extra for that. You'll get an invoice.
Already lively in the chat, already messy on the panel. I love it. It's a salon. It's time. Let's talk about Star Trek Prodigy. But in order to do so, we of course have to get ourselves geared up. We must set an intention.
Indeed, we must. So, to set an intention tonight, in honor of Gwen making what she described as the wrong choice, I thought it would be fun if we went around the room and talked about the choice that a character in Trek made that still drives you crazy. And as always, I will start us off by sharing that the decision that drives me mad, the choice that drives me nuts from Trek, belongs to Captain Jean-Luc Picard in season 4 of The Next Generation, the episode Suddenly Human. The decision to send Jono / Jeremiah Rosa back into the hands of the people that kidnapped him still drives me completely batty. There are so many potential solutions to that dilemma that don't involve one extreme or the other. I would have loved for Captain Endar and Jeremiah to have gone into Federation space escorted by the Enterprise for the purposes of visiting Earth, meeting relatives that were still alive, at some point Jeremiah making his own decision, something, anything other than, oh, you kidnapped him and that's cool in your culture? Okay, you can have him back. That just continues to drive me nuts, and it's one of the few decisions that JL made during his tenure as captain of the Enterprise D that drives me bonkers. So with that, we will go around the room, and we will start with the disembodied Sohail. Sohail, I would love to know what decision in Trek or what choice in Trek still drives you nuts to this day.
That's a really good one because there's quite a few options or choices, but I think it's Lieutenant Darren. That whole thing, the way Picard handled all that, to me. Oh, why am I echoing? That's weird. Sorry. But anyways.
Perhaps that's just in your own disembodied ears, because you sound fine to us.
Okay, good. I'm hearing myself. But yeah, Darren, I don't think he should have sent her, just like off like that. I think he should have, I don't know. It just bothered me. But now we can't really have a resolution on screen about it because we already got, season 3 of Star Trek Picard. But I had high hopes for her, character having a resolution. So yeah.
Yes, the whole she's the problem because she's the woman, so let her transfer and let it affect her career. Certainly wasn't the Trekkiest Trek that ever trekked. Will, dear.
I had trouble thinking of something because most of the time, like in the show, there's like there's a certain type of justification or like part of the story. I accept the decision in some way. Part of me is just like the decision I hate the most is Janeway allowing Neelix on the ship, but that's just because I hate that character. Or not phasering Tuvix the minute he came off the transporter pad, and being like, get back on there. We're fixing that right fucking now. I don't know. I had trouble finding something, to be honest. Like, there were things that came up, like the episode the Outcast with the non-binary character, where I felt like that was kind of a terrible decision, but it makes sense in the context of the episode. So there wasn't one that like drove me nuts. Most of it's just like anytime Barkley's on screen or anytime there's a Neelix centered episode, I'm just like, good God. But that's not a decision a character makes. So I didn't really have an answer for it. This is the first time I didn't have something. I couldn't think of something where I was like, this was frustrating. Why did you do that? Most of the time,
Too close
I
to
get it.
head canon. I think that's why you're struggling with it. This
Yes.
intention was a little
Yeah.
head canon-y.
Yeah, and I
Although I
already
do-
like immediately remove myself from that end of the fandom. So
I do appreciate the consistency of referencing Barkley this week and last week when I talked about a character
he's the one character like most characters in Star Trek. I'm like, okay, whatever. And like, but Barkley, I'm like, what's the point of you being here? You annoying turd of a man. Like, you should not be on the flagship of the Federal. Anyway, I don't want to get into it. Shoot that man out of a goddamn airlock. That was the wrong decision. Picard shouldn't have allowed that man on the ship. Whoever let him transfer to the Enterprise, fired.
There you go.
Anyway.
Love it. Krista, now that Will needs to calm down.
Wow. No Barkley love there. I don't really. I'm kind of with Will on this. There are numerous ones that are just annoying to me, but the thing that came to my mind wasn't necessarily a decision that was made in the show. It was more like a consequence of how the show was formatted, and that's for the chase, where they run down this massive discovery that is monumental and dangerous, and then it kind of goes nowhere. It just fizzles out in the end. Like, we all come from this genetic soup. You're meeting a hologram progenitor who existed long before any of you, and because of the way that the show is formatted, it's not going to get built upon. So I kind of look at it like, well, they set the groundwork so DS9 and Discovery and Picard could move something forward with that. But for me, at the end of that episode, I was kind of like, and now what are we doing with this? Like, how can we use this politically? How can this become something that can continue? And it's just not going to, because that's not the way the show was formatted. So that was annoying to me. I don't mind Barkley as much.
I completely understand your feelings about that particular episode, but I'm on Team Will when it comes to Barkley.
I know, everybody is.
Joanne, my love.
So mine is from the episode where Worf is paralyzed. What is that? Ethics?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
And the wrong choice for me that drives me banana sandwich every time is that at the end, yes, Dr. Crusher dresses her down for whatever, but why doesn't she fucking report her? Is there no like ethics committee standards? Hippocratic oath still apply? Like, she should not be practicing medicine. It just because Worf kind of gave some consent, the choice should have never been given to him. So I'm like, I don't care that you cussed the bitch out. Report her, ruin her life, drag that bitch, right? Yeah.
I can't argue with dragging Dr. Toby Russell because she deserved it. Fearless leader, take us home, please.
Well,
I
I
like
think
how you instantly recalled her name. Sorry, I was trying to remember her name. I was like,
I hate her that much.
I like all of these, but I think everybody missed the most obvious one. I mean, Jean-Luc Picard should have destroyed all of the Borg. He should have used Hugh to do it. Very easy decision. Fuck that child. Kill them all. I'm kidding. I agree with the decision that was ultimately made. No, the one that I'm going to go with, I forget the name of the episode. I ran out of time to look it up before we started, but it gets picked up in lower decks, leaving that planet with people addicted to drugs in the first season. Symbiosis, thank you. You are in a post-scarcity society, and you've got these two factions that you are going to maroon on their respective planets and let one suffer. And Dr. Crusher was correct. They don't have to suffer. Send one of your trusty Oberth class ships to help them. Like, this is where I want to know what happens when captain's logs get submitted. Like, is there not an admiral on Earth being like, I'm sorry, did the captain of our flagship just nonchalantly report in this log that there is a society that is addicted to drugs that we can help, and he just chose to let them string themselves out? I don't think so. Send an Oberth. Help them. Don't let them fall down that wellness rabbit hole that they end up falling in, and we pick up in lower decks. It's problematic.
I need a Salon issued t-shirt with the Oberth class beautifully on it that says send an Oberth, please. That would be amazing.
Send an Oberth. Send one of these
in orbit of Brecca. Just hanging out there waiting to have. I do think that would make an excellent maybe intro to a special topics episode at some point on the Prime Directive, because it's a warp capable society that was clearly asking for help. So shouldn't we have helped?
Yes. And Star Trek is always of its time, right? Late 80s, Nancy Reagan, throat goat herself, bullshit, just say no nonsense permeating into our Star Trek. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Can I show you guys something real quick? And you'll know why I mute the camera when I drink. It's mapping my lips, and so look, when I drink champagne, like, watch it. Like it doesn't... I can't even do it. Hold on. It's like...
Please don't unsubscribe, friends.
Speaking of throat.
Oh my god, I'm trying not to spit up.
Lovely intention setter, Trevor.
Hit
Thank
the
you
button.
so much.
Hit the button.
Which one? I like
Yes.
Look at my floating lips. Like I don't know what look at my floating lips. Like
And my gag reflex.
Is it a banner because they're lips? Like, I don't know. Please subscribe to this nonsense.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I should get a combo of all the buttons.
Oh, great question, Jake. And yes, Joanne is correct. Where are we?
Spitters or quitters.
Disclaimer.
Yes.
Disclaimer.
So
Perfect
something
timing. Thanks, so
yes, this is a great yes. Thank
Joanne,
you so
I
much.
swallowed it all. I didn't let a drop come out of my mouth, even though I had to cough.
A quick disclaimer for our audience who may have stumbled upon the Salon thinking, oh, my kids and I love Star Trek Prodigy. Here's a YouTube show about it. This show is not for children. We are obviously to be kept away. Or let me reverse that. Keep your kids away. Do not bring your children into my show. I am very Bob the Drag Queen when it comes to children at my show, unless you're giving me some dollars. No, thank you. But let's talk about Star Trek Prodigy. Segue. Let us get into episodes 17 and 18 and talk about our top thoughts. I will attempt to kick things off. These episodes were super fun. I love seeing Gwen take control of a mission, moving towards being in command. We've seen throughout this season a little bit of a switcheroo between her and Dal, finding the right place for them, supporting each other, And these episodes give us a really high stakes mission for that to be put to the test. I love that they just said, fuck that treaty yet again, and said, you know what? These kids can cloak themselves. Who gives a shit? The Romulans are a little busy right now. Again, this is a beautiful show. I'm loving this season. Taking the diviner Ilthron and completely switching him this season to being his past self and more and less hardened, hasn't gone through this terrible civil war that was brewing, gives us a really interesting juxtaposition between him and literal cartoon villain Essentia. And that bitch is just messy, and I can't wait to talk about it. So those are my top thoughts on these episodes. Joanne, what are your top thoughts?
So these were okay for me. There was a little too much of kind of convenience for the speed of plot for me for a couple of things. Like, how did this happen? Or what? This makes no sense to me. So a couple times I was just kind of like, what is going on? But for the most part, I loved kind of seeing Gwen deal with her decision. And all of the consequences of that. Like, I think that's an important lesson. Like, I love when, as much as we love Prodigy, I do love when these life lessons kind of shine through for kids. So, and I thought they handled that really, really well. And yeah, Essentia is messy boots, but I don't know. This was okay. Krista?
I liked them. Essentia she is just. I had an actual visceral hate. Like when anytime she opened her mouth, I was like, slap that fucking bitch. I hate this fucking bitch. And I was wondering how many children in their heads are going, I hate this fucking bitch. I think the thing that I liked best was the importance or the doubling down on the idea that they can communicate mentally. And I think what I like most about it is that if they can communicate or get into the head of the loom and recognize that it fears, it has loneliness, it has all of these things, they can have some empathy for it, and it sort of opens the door for what do we do with this now. And I think I like the fact that they're showing that in a children's show, because by the time you're adults, it's not we're surrounded by fanatics right now. We're eating neighborhood animals. It's anarchy out there, Tom. It's anarchy. And so getting this when you're a kid, I think, is an excellent addition to the show. And that is the one thing I noticed. I also don't understand how Murph and Gwen can use the transporter and not turn out to be Brindle Fly on the other end, like share a circle. That was just a random thought that occurred to me. But I mean, I like the episodes. I'm really looking forward to the last two. All of it kind of tying together, and this was just the setup for that, as far as I'm concerned.
Love it. Will?
Yes. I like these episodes are good. I kind of they obviously there was like one long episode, but like both of them kind of go right into the next one. But I think there's a lot of the character stuff we've been seeing throughout the season is kind of I can tell that the writers sat down, or Aaron Watke or whoever sat down and clearly plotted where everything is supposed to happen. There was a very steady hand in terms of the writing and the structure of this season. Not only because there's a lot of timey-wimey stuff that can get very confusing and leave a lot of plot holes, but that the character stuff has now kind of the kids of the Prodigy are now becoming young adults, and they're finding their paths in their lives, or like where they are right now. They're finding the trajectory that maybe they'll take the rest of their life. Because we got Doll really responding to oh god, I'm blanking on her name. Gwen, responding to her in a leadership role. Gwen taking her responsibilities as a leader very seriously. We have and Rock like being the tech person that she is, and like Zero being the person they are, and like and Murph being like all of them kind of falling into their respective places, but in a way where it feels a little more earned than at the end of season one, where it felt like they kind of it didn't feel as earned to me. But this season we see them kind of journey through it, um and it feels like it as we get to the last two episodes, it feels like there's more of that these it's the warrior returning home, like that the idea of like the warrior's path, that kind of story trope, if anyone is like studying that or thinking about it right now. But it feels like it was just well structured. It's great placement in the series. I've had 2 glasses of wine. It was great. It's great. It looks great. Essentia is a fucking cunt and I hate her. Like anytime she's on screen, she makes me fucking angry because she's a good villain. And she's just a nasty bitch. And I want to be her friend, but I also don't want to be around her. But no, great. Love great episodes, great writing. Exciting to see it kind of ramp. And taking these in chunks was really nice because I'm able to think a little bit more critically about what's happening. But as we reach the penultimate episode in the finale, it's the story of this feels good. It feels like there's a lot of correcting happening and a lot of character stuff and a lot of healing for the characters, which is great. So Hale.
Hey, so I, I'm glad I got to go after all of you guys because I can just say like, yes, I agree with everything everyone was saying. The only thing I'll add is that I had a lot of fun rewatching it. I just watched it before the show. And I think that's like my 5th or 6th watching that I was present for because I keep running Prodigy, so hoping that like Netflix will renew it. So I just like will keep it running all day if I can. Sorry if that's gaming a little bit, but whatever. We need the show. But the thing that I really caught on to, because I never watched Star Trek Voyager in earnest when it was airing, and I know it's a big show for a huge generation, like a huge chunk of fans. Uh, that was like their first Star Treks, but I missed out on it because I was like just going to clubs and doing a lot of other stuff. And back then we didn't have like on demand or streaming or whatever. No, nothing like that. But alcohol, maybe yes, by that time. I don't know. Oh, whoa, I have hands again. It's weird when they come. But anyways, I feel like Zero. That's why he's my favorite character. But the the thing that really kind of like got to me this time that didn't get to me on previous watchings was like some of the moments with Chakotay and Wesley and like just all the crew from the Void, like the TNG era. That that reunion was very well done and special, and like I thought that the way that the dialogue was like really helped us kind of fill in a lot about Wesley. Like I think Wesley's this incarnation of Wesley, this version of Wesley is very interesting. I'd be really down to see more. And Chakotay too. Like I didn't care for Chakotay. I'm now watching Voyager. I forgot to say that part. And I'm like kind of sort of at season 6. I have to I watch it before I go to bed, so I sometimes fall asleep, and I may have not seen a swath of episodes because it just kind of like keeps playing or whatever. But so anyways, but this made me more hyped to go back and watch Voyager in earnest and all that stuff because I want to know some of these like nuances that you guys who have like loved that show are feeling, when you see these like kind of interactions and stuff like that. So that really is what I tuned into. And so I think from that perspective it's really great. I think the only critique I would give, which I don't know if
You seem to have muted yourself.
Am I unmuted now?
Zordon, are you there?
Sort of.
I can hear you now.
So the only critique I would give is that, like, I think it was ambitious to pack so much into action and like everything else into like, these 20-minute shows, because I wanted more. Like I think it would have been really cool if they had the budget to do like a special, like maybe 35-minute episode for this last 4-episode run. So yeah, that's it.
For a split second, I thought Aaron Watke had like taken over Sohail's avatar and was just like, no, there will be no critique of the show. It's just completely
Not from you,
black.
bitch.
Um,
Very targeted.
So yeah, I'm also going to sort of reiterate what has already been said in terms of just enjoying these episodes. They weren't my favorite. I certainly wasn't critical of either one. There were I have two things I particularly kind of was over the top excited about, and then one thing that kind of makes me go, hmm. And the over the top excited things were Admiral Catherine Janeway giving helm and navigation orders to Wesley Crusher. There was something very weird that I myself was time traveling between like the late 90s and the late 80s, watching these two characters interact, and it's 2024 and I'm watching it on streaming, and I kind of had a time travel moment myself where I just sort of overly geeked out about that. The other exciting bit really gets super granular with respect to Prodigy in general, and that is how cool it was, not only for young boys and young men to see this happen, but for it to happen from a boy and young man who deferred to a woman who was clearly more capable in that moment. So Dahl acknowledging, no, you're in charge of this, you're in command of this. Not that any woman needs the permission of a man to do that and to assume that, but that the man had no problem with it is really important for men to see, particularly young men, to just acknowledge that the most capable person should lead regardless was just a cool thing to watch happen. It's also cool that we're seeing these two characters evolve in a way that perhaps may lend itself toward their futures. But I think it's really, really powerful and really, really important for young people to see that acknowledgement and that development of those characters. The thing that made me go, was the Doctor turning from Admiral Janeway back into himself. So he had altered his holographic projection to appear like himself again. But then he disappeared and reappeared where they were, but there's no hollow. So did his emitter transport to where the group was so they could rendezvous with the ship?
I
Mm,
mentioned this last week, and
Yeah.
people were giving me shit.
But
There's
intra-ship-
something up with this diva.
Intra-ship, it was one thing, but now that they're on the surface of a planet where there are no emitters on the ship and there's no site-to-site transport, the fuck? Like what just happened? I don't understand. If you give me that the emitter itself has an internal transporter, just give me that line of dialogue. I will leave it alone and never bring it up again.
Yes.
But it was weird, and it leaves me going, how did that happen? So
Yes. Aaron, if
I
you're
don't like
lurking, the people have questions. And I
And
would
I
love
don't
to
like to-
ask you some questions in an interview if ever possible. We would love to have you for sure.
100%. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy who's like, no, transporters were down on that particular episode at that particular time. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, this was clearly a unique property of the emitter that's never been discussed. It wasn't the door closed on the turbolift and they said they were going to deck 8, but the sign said deck 10. Like, I'm not being that obnoxious. This was something technical happened that shouldn't have been able to happen, and I don't understand how it happened, and it's kind of important to the story.
This is the real Voyager conspiracy.
Indeed. I will
Trev,
leave it at
I'm
that.
something technical that's happening that you don't know how it's.
I also don't understand, and I have questions. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Sohail's existence is currently puzzling to me. But yeah, so those are my top thoughts, and I'll argue about my other thoughts from my other places later.
Our interesting phrasing. Are we still doing phrasing? We're doing phrasing. All right, let's talk
I'm
about
doing phrasing, damn it.
That could be so. I'm gonna plug the Patreon again real quick, because one thing that we were talking about possibly doing as a bonus content thing, if y'all might be into this kind of thing, is us doing mini salons on other content, and Archer would be an interesting one, perhaps. But we will also, of course, would want to keep it in the sci-fi family. I know Will mentioned doing Babylon 5, which would be super fun, because I have some thoughts. I also I woke up from a dream this morning, and in that dream I got my first script writing job, and it was to write the plot of a Babylon 5 porn parody, and it works. I started plotting it out when I woke up. I was like, how would that? Oh no, it works. It works.
I have a
And
question. Is
yeah.
am I in it, and is Dr. Franklin in it? Because if not, it doesn't work.
Well, he's dead, so no. But a new Dr. Franklin, perhaps.
Harsh.
Who made it weird, me or Trevor? Vote now on patreon.com/Salon Trek. Let's thank you. Thank you, Jake. Yes. And yes,
Does Jake
Joanne,
get a button?
we both made it weird. Oh, damn it.
Can Jake get a button?
Yes. Yes. Listen, I was caught in my own dream. I cannot believe this. I see it. I see it. I
We've
see it.
activated.
I
We've
see it.
activated it.
I see it. Everybody calm down. I'm just saying, I cannot believe that on this salon, am talking about how I woke up from a dream in which I got a script writing job, which would be my first, and it happened to be a Babylon 5 porn parody. I will take that job. And for that and many other reasons.
Problematic gay alert.
And yes, hello, Aaron. Thank you. Welcome to the chat. Always love to see you. Can't wait to have a deep dive discussion. Hope to grab some time with you in the not too distant future, if and when convenient. We may throw some questions your way.
But we just did. Ask him the question.
It was your question. You ask it.
How when the doctor turned from the fake image of Admiral Janeway back into himself, how did he get from that location to rejoin the away team for the evacuation from the planet? How did it happen? Did the emitter transport him there, or like help?
Yeah, explain the animation decisions. How dare you? No, I'm kidding. Kidding. God, make it more awkward, Stan. Let's talk about this episode. One thing in particular, while we give folks time to process, let's talk about Wesley Crusher. Traveler Wesley pops in as Essentia is doing some nonsense with wormhole technology that we have learned is the genesis of the technology that will find its way into Star Trek Picard Season 3. Let's talk about the Traveler choosing to get captured in order to move things along down the path he believes through thought must happen in order for them to put the timeline back together. Who wants to start? Who has thoughts about Wesley Crusher exercising his kinks in order to save the universe? Will?
Yeah. Letting that sit for a second. I like that his. This is kind of a stupid. I don't know. I like how in Next Generation, almost every plan that Wesley had or any idea he had kind of spun out of control in some crazy thing, nanites, all that sorts of stuff. And I love how it's no different with him as a traveler, like how it kind of like he had a plan, it kind of all fell apart, and then it's kind of coming back together in some way. But his plan to get captured is good. I love that it's never a straight line with what Wesley Crusher, and it was never like, oh, just kidding, did this, but he was like, I did it and I fucked it up. So like with paralleling Gwen saying she made the wrong decision with splitting them up, I think it was good. Yes. Oh.
I don't have a hollow emitter, but I am a hollow.
Will, do me a favor. Either keep going or read the thing you see on screen rather than
Oh, right. Sorry. So according to Aaron Waukee, sorry, I was reading it. Leave me alone. I had 2 glasses of wine. If you look closely, he covers his mobile emitter with his hand before disappearing, and as we've seen in Star Trek Insurrection, holograms can make people disappear. Just ask Data's floating head. That is some deep ass lore.
Yeah,
Like
Trevor.
some deep lore, Aaron Waukee.
With your rude ass criticism. How dare you?
Yeah, how dare you? Never question Watkey again.
I'm sorry, Aaron. He's going to be fired after this.
I activated the emergency track writing hologram. I don't understand how you're criticizing that.
No, it's great.
You guys, I just found out I have a tongue.
Oh my
So
God.
hell, you gotta stop,
I'm sorry,
girl.
I didn't know it had one. That's crazy.
This Alaska Zordon bullshit is
Also,
showing up here looking like a goddamn Sim. Sims 2 ass
so
showing
weird.
up to the salon.
With the Bob
Damn,
Ross
dude.
background. I love the Bob Ross painted background.
yeah, Bob Ross Zordon. That's what you
You've
are.
got a pop boy band hair. Like, what the fuck is that?
Someone called it Lego, like Lego
Backstreet
or
Boy.
play. I think they have to fix
Anyway, I like that his plan that it was a good plan, but ultimately, in true Wesley fashion, it fucks up. That's what I liked about it.
I liked it too. Kind of. Well, I liked the concept of it because these are what is this the Ouroboros? Is that the title of these Ouroboros? No. Which one are these? Which one
Those
is
are the
this?
next one. We're talking about
The next one.
These ones are called Brink, and I
A
called
Touch of
it something
Grey?
else. A
A
touch of gray.
Touch of Grey.
This was the first time I named this something that wasn't a play on the name of the episode, and that's why I'm thrown off. Sorry.
Okay. So maybe I'm probably thinking of the next one, so I won't say it. But I did like the fact that there was a circle, right? And there was a plan. Like everything kind of all of the pieces sort of came together. And like Will said, they sort of fell apart. I also though I did struggle with, why Wesley, not that he has to account for everything, but why he couldn't pivot as quickly. But in my head canon, I just said, oh, it's because, she had shot him up too much. And so his brain, well, he said by his own words, he was frazzled. So I guess he was too frazzled to pivot. But I did like that kind of all of the pieces were there. And then, well, I won't talk about the next ones. So yeah, I really loved the last 2 episodes. So yeah.
I
do
like
wanna
the
throw
whole
in that
Wesley. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, well, we might be actually about to say the same thing, just me to more of an extreme. I think episode 18 might be my favorite Wesley episode.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Wesley coming back, and my favorite thing was how he was kind of like totally, he had no idea what was going on. Like he's like, oh, I had all this plan, but you guys like you guys messed it up. You were all supposed to stay together, and this is what was gonna happen. And they're like, well, how the heck were we supposed to know that? Like you didn't give us any of that information.
Yeah.
It's like
I remember the first time I watched this episode, I was like, how dare you?
How dare
are
you, Wesley Crusher?
children just trying to go to Starfleet Academy. We haven't been there yet. You have.
Yeah.
And by the way, you fucked up there. And now think your way out of this. fool.
And then
Technically,
I like the moment
Nick
where like
Locarno fucked up.
the music was superb in both these episodes, but I especially noticed it in a few moments, and when he was like frustrated about them not being together, and then all of a sudden you see Dal pop out of the corner, and like then you know you see you have a like a moment of hope as they're coming around the corner, but then you see that Essentia is right there, and it was like so wonderfully it was like, ah, no. So it was really well played out. I was really hoping that the I was really again, I was just hoping for I am hoping for more, which is a sign that it was really well done. I love Wesley in this. I think I took the order away.
This is where you're
next?
supposed to actually conduct the salon, Stanley.
Buzz, how dare you?
How dare you?
Hey, can we talk over here? Will, how dare you?
No. No.
Will and I are actually very good friends until he left me and moved to DC, and now he can burn in hell.
Canon alert.
Yeah. Which one's canon? What?
Keep going.
How dare you? Let's any final thoughts on Traveler Wesley Crusher putting himself in danger on purpose? Cool. Let's talk about putting these kids in danger, because it's been a minute since they were ordered to do that, right? We got a quintessential Star Trek scene. We got quintessential Star Trek personal log recording, beautiful exposition, and we get to fuck around with the Prime Directive in a way that doesn't actually violate it, which is beautiful Trek. Let's send the children. Let's let the children use a cloaking device. That's fine, right? It doesn't, like, A, the treaty doesn't say the kids can't use cloaking, and B, the Romulans are really busy right now. Who gives a shit? I love it. Love it.
Also, prep for tosser alert, and the children shall lead.
I don't want to give you that. Like,
I don't care. I'm taking.
I appreciate
Turns out
you.
if you push the button or not, I can put it on the spreadsheet.
Yes, I appreciate you representing Ken while he cannot be here to give us his own weird kind of don't work, kind of do work puns. Love you, Ken. See you next week.
That
He'll
worked.
be the tosser in the room.
Who has thoughts on Admiral Janeway putting these children in danger?
Now that Sohail has found his tongue.
I have thoughts on it. I don't think she had any choice. This is like a universe-ending event with Essentia fucking or fracking or whatever you want to call it around with the
We're not against fracking.
Okay, with the
Never have been, never will be.
with the temporal state of flux that she's created. I mean, like, what were they saying? Even the gravimetric radiation was like, or whatever the gravimetric. It was it was high. It was super high, and maybe I am too. Hang on, I'll be back.
This is the first time I think someone wrote about the Prime Directive that actually understood what it was. Like, we get it every so often where sometimes someone has a vague idea of what the Prime Directive is and is a plot device to stop people, to create drama. It's like, oh, we can't help them because of whatever. This is the first time it was used in a way where I felt like someone who wrote this, whoever wrote this episode, or someone who was quality controlling or monitoring this, Aaron Watkey, for example, probably understood what the Prime Directive is and went, how do we circumvent this to save these people, to stop this event? And then going, these people. So like the kids, and then letting them do the thing, and then kind of letting them act as the people they are instead of being kind of inhibited. See, and Aaron wrote it. He wrote it, period. Aaron understands. Thank you, Aaron. Finally, it's the one time I felt like a writer understood what it was. So thank you so much. It's like the first time I went because like anytime someone mentions anytime a character mentions the Prime Directive in Star Trek, sometimes I like immediately like tense up because I'm like, are they gonna use it? Like, are they gonna figure out what it is? And it's the first time I felt like someone got it right.
Yes, it was perfect. And
Mhm.
again, I don't mean to keep doing this, and I won't do this much, but another plug for the Patreon, something we were also discussing is having philosophical debates in the Trek universe. Like one idea I had is let's actually define or redefine the Prime Directive, because as we see in this episode, and I'm not just saying this because somebody's in the chat, it makes sense. In some other episodes, it's like, no, we can do nothing at all because of the Prime Directive. I'm like, what? We can save this planet. We can save this weird looking little girl that's been chatting with Data for some reason.
Sarjenka.
Talk about wrong choice. Full circle. Ba-da-ba.
Let that girl die. No, Joanne said, let that bitch burn.
I didn't like Sarjenka or Sargento. Whatever. Yeah.
She's not a frozen.
Sargento.
Sargento, like the cheese.
DiGiorno,
Get that cheese girl out of
Sargento,
here.
Roshenko.
Poor Sarjenka. Poor
Let that
Sarjenka.
DiGiorno bitch
Trust
die.
them kids.
That
I
poor
didn't like her.
girl.
Put that little DiGiorno in the oven. Let her go.
There's a lot to unpack in that episode.
Jesus. Goodness gracious. I don't even have I don't know where to go. Yes, it's the captain's discretion, and some of them get it wrong. Any other thoughts? Krista, you're raising your hand.
I am raising my hand because y'all are a hot mess. I liked that it was sort of like okay, today kids, we're going to teach you about semantics. And this, you can get around this by doing this. And I like the realism of that, because needs must. You figure it out, and you figure out how it has to happen. I also like coming up that they separated, and that's what sort of snafu'd Wesley's whole plan. But in a weird way, they had to be captured together in order to be rescued. Like, they weren't going to be rescued separate. They had to be, when they come together, things seem to work out. And towards the end of episode 18, I started thinking, these poor kids, they're gonna have to like find a house to live in together. Like, they're never, at some point, they're gonna have like a whole PTSD thing, separation anxiety from one another. And every time they separate, it goes very bad. And every time they're together, the world seems to right itself. And I thought it would be a weird PTSD, but I was just through a hurricane. So that's my claim. So Hale has a tongue. I have hurricanes. Okay.
I do have a tongue. I have fingers too. One day I'll have a body. Maybe it'll be cool. I'll be embodied.
Dude, it wasn't an invite for you to fucking prove how unfamiliar you are with every inch of your own body. It's
You thirsty bitch.
In the arms of the angel.
Speaking of thirsty bitches, no, I appreciate. I appreciated Gwen also advocating for her dad, right? Like, she was like, yeah, I'm probably the one. These are my people, and they formulate their plan. But she's like, and I'll do it, but we also need to save my dad. Like, fuck y'all. So many times folk are like, we just do it for Starfleet and for the Federation because this is capital T truth, capital R right. But she's just like, no, we're going to do this and we're going to save my dad. And I just appreciated her advocating for her needs and them being like, yeah, damn Skippy. So
It was the stuff of a Starfleet captain.
Yes.
Because there are so many instances where a captain's concerns and a captain's priorities coincide with or get morphed into part of a mission, and her basically saying, yeah, sure, I'll save the I'll save time as we know it, but also kind of loved it too.
I sometimes feel like the only like sometimes captains are expected to be family-less, like other than Benjamin Sisko, who I think made it in the in Emissary, the pilot made it like effort to go save his family. Like that was his priority, was his family, his wife, and his son, and like his often made Jake the priority in terms of what is going on. But like it always feels like the captain has to be familyless, but Gwen choosing both, going, we have to save, we have to do our duty, but I also want to save my father, is a very, I think, a really important thing that you can do both. That you don't, in order to make a decision, you have to completely remove yourself from your the kind of personal attachments you have. Because I think her saving her father actually is a betterment to everyone else there. Because obviously Will didn't tell them, or Wesley didn't tell them the fucking plan. So like they would have known. But like I think it was nice to see someone in a command position make a personal choice, but also make the right choice in terms of their duty, if that makes sense. Because it always feels like with Picard, it was always like, no, always Starfleet, because he literally had no family. Or like even Janeway, it was always about getting the crew home, always about Starfleet. And now we have a captain who made a decision that was both at the same time, which I think they have the space to exist.
But you're talking about the difference between adults who have sort of been subjugated into this idea that, you know, they are what they do professionally. Right. And these kids they are what they feel. And every single episode is sort of a testament to what they feel with each other, about themselves, about opposing forces. So I think it's a lot easier to make the kind of decision you're talking about if the only barometer that you have is what you feel.
But I think it's like, as we're getting very philosophical here. But as you become an adult, there's the idea of becoming professional, and that like you choose your work, you can't feel anything personally attached to it. Setting personal boundaries, making sure that you're taken care of, your family is taken care of, that sort of thing. It's always about work, like grind. You have to. The job comes first. You're considered like not a team player, not, if you go, I'm not going to work the extra hours, I'm burnt out, or telling someone that you're working too hard, or not saying that this family thing is important to you, but her making a choice that's both, I think it gives space for that. And I think it makes her a good leader. And I think it's an interesting character choice, and written well for Gwen, that this is important. Both of these things are important to her, but she's the one who went to go find her father. Was like, we can do both. Her saying that there wasn't a reason why we had to choose one or the other, that there was at some point we could do both. I mean, for all intents and purposes, she went against the plan, but like they were together but separated. Semantics. But
and the pre-cadets, they have like an endless imagination, and that's like one of the best things about it, is that like all the kind of grown-ups remark about how extraordinary they are, and it even inspires like a new kind of you know a new kind of like spirit in Janeway at the end, when she's, like all about like, yeah, we're gonna help you. And so I think it's important to see that like sometimes when we become professional and like, as we become more entrenched in that world and that system, it's easy to lose that imaginative, like, oh well, anything's possible. Like, why are you saying that, like, not knowing is a bad thing? In other words, the unknown is not bad, the frontier. All right, that's enough.
I mean, her whole arc was, I mean, season 1, she left her dad, right? And went with the kids on the ship. And so to now season 2 kind of have her work through that and like, no, I got to get my dad too. I mean, again, like I said, I love when those life lessons kind of come through in Prodigy, because, she kind of worked through all of that pain and that broken relationship. And now, you know, she's not only willing to save the universe and her chosen family, but, you know, her actual family as well. And it's just, I don't know, it was a great circle. You know what I mean? It's a great arc. It's a great arc.
Speaking of dads, there's Walter with Will.
Hi, Walter.
I would choose Walter every day.
Oh,
All
you
of you
do
are
that? Look what
seconds.
you
None of
do.
you come close, even close to Walter. I would fight every single one of you in a Vulcan style ring of death. I would do it
Yes.
for this little man.
Yeah.
In fairness, Will, like you're my friend and I love you, but I love Walter more. So it's fine. It's totally fine.
Bring it on, you bald bitch. I'll take your ass out.
Yeah.
Period.
Oh, it's true. I've
I
dog
think that
slapped that
song
dog. He's
that
wonderful.
song counts as a tosser alert.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
gonna say the same thing.
Even and like you said earlier, even if a banner doesn't go up, but there you go, it can still be counted. Let's talk about Solemn. So we've got some Essentia bullshit happening. She's using time dilation technology to build this fleet faster than ever. We also have these fuckers letting the kids do all their dirty work, which I get it. They can't see anything past their crowns, but come on. Come on. Where is this resistance we keep hearing about? Insert my thoughts about certain resistance nonsense here in America. Do some real work. Vote, damn it, fucking leftists. Anyway, thoughts on Solemn letting the kids do their dirty work.
I love how all of Solemn looks like it's from from Final Fantasy. Like it looks like it's from Final Fantasy 12, and I love that. That's a deep reference. I don't know if Aaron Wanke's intention was to have Solemn look like Final Fantasy 12, but I live.
And it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, 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 beautiful. Like so different from anything we've seen in Star Trek, which is so cool. But yeah, fuck them, letting those kids do all their work for them.
I think my take is that it's so effed that there's no choice. Like the kids are the only hope at that point because they're the only ones that no one's gonna like really pay attention to or take seriously. And so we're lucky that these kids happen to be like prodigies and like can figure anything out. And so
Noted
like...
child labor supporter, so help us Odin.
Federation News Network Live, uncovered live, canceled live.
Bob Ross Zordon here. Why is it you think children should be put in danger and build
No,
those
I'm saying
ships?
the adults were effed. There was no one to like help them. There was no choice. It's like Home Alone. Like Macaulay Culkin had no adults to help him. He had to fuck those fuckers up by himself. You know, that were trying to break into his house, and that's what these kids were. That's the choice. This is Home Alone.
He did try to talk to the police. I keep forgetting
Kevin,
that is not a plot hole. Debunked.
Yeah, the kids were kind of like Kira teaching the Cardassians how to be the resistance because
yeah.
Solon didn't have any frame of reference for that shit. You know, they just were all into themselves, stood around smelling their own kind of farts every day. So they didn't know anything about, you know, fighting and plotting and Viva la Resistance. I feel like we should be singing something from Les Mis. I can't think of anything. But you know, so yeah, they were Kira.
Empty chairs and empty.
I was like, one day more.
Here's something from Aaron per Will's comment earlier. Our vision for Solemn was a society that had advanced technologically, but retained deeply ingrained cultural beliefs that were somewhat reactionary, like if Galileo had invented warp drive. Love it. Love it.
Super cool.
Heresy. Kind of. Ooh, it reminds me of the Voth. You think we in this vast city ship that can do whatever the fuck we want came from over there? Heresy.
What was their deal? The Voth. Bring them back for season 3 of Prodigy. Bring the Voth
Yeah,
back.
Aaron.
Bring them
Will
back.
has
No.
demands.
I have a
We need a new-
list.
we need a new
Replace Chakotay
segment.
with the Voth.
We need a new segment called Stan Does His Thoughts But Shakespearean.
Oh God, let me do
I
it.
have a degree in Shakespeare. Please don't hurt me. Don't hurt me this way.
I did.
Do you?
It's awesome
That's
that your
such a
name's
nerd.
Will.
Yeah,
I
she's a
do,
mess.
girl.
She is a Shakespearean mess nerd.
Will
she is that bitch.
Shakespeare.
But no, I am also. I mean, I'm not as deeply ingrained, but I have studied Shakespeare. We were just talking about the gay ass sonnets the other day, and I'm fantastic at it. Got an A in that class. Acted the fuck out of that sonnet. Because I'm gay, and those sonnets are really gay. They're gay love letters. Any other thoughts about
Shakespeare was a drag queen.
I've
Yes.
learned that my hologram is gay.
You keep having these realizations live on this podcast, and I need you to do some self-reflection. We're here for you. We're happy about it.
So
who else-
Hale's wearing a Vision Pro, but also got the Elon Musk Neuralink. So now they're both fighting. He's discovering sentience right before our eyes. It's discovery, but done poorly via capitalism, or generations done poorly via capitalism.
Oh my gosh. I would
Show
never
us
let
your
that.
feet. Oh, Hale. Show us
Show-
your feet. How many toes do you have?
Oh my god, do I have feet? Hold on, let me kick my feet up and see.
Oh,
Does
please
it,
don't.
no, it
For
doesn't
free?
have feet. Oh, I phased again. Whoa.
Mess. You are a mess. I don't even have a well.
Bitch, just log off. Like,
Mess.
too much.
I want to
next-
thank. I want to
next
thank the not one but two people who have joined our Patreon during this live episode. So maybe yes, so hell do show your teeth, your teeth. Hoop.
Feet, you weirdo.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
I think we blow it up again.
I'll have
I
a
think we blow it
chest
up.
so I can't show much. There's not going to be a hollow me.
People are giving this money,
So he'll gone wild.
and we thank you for helping covering the costs of this nonsense.
This actually costs money. Who knew?
It does. Let's talk about. No, this was just a joke. This isn't where I wanted to go. Let's talk about the Loom and this diva. So our kids get captured. They have to fight their way out. Admiral Janeway zooms down with Wesley and the doctor to save the day. And we get the worst actor ever, the doctor, not Robert Picardo, the doctor. That is an in-universe criticism. And the kids running around the Loom. Who has thoughts about Essentia trying to kill Janeway and nearly succeeding?
How did they catch that bug?
Bug, yes.
That shit fucked with me. Like, what? I mean, and even they were like, it doesn't matter. She caught it. I guess I get it, but how did she do it?
I'm thinking, and if somebody who knows wants to answer this question more realistically, I'm thinking the same way that she caught Wesley. Like he allowed himself to be caught, but the loom being sort of like a wild animal versus him, whatever, like that again, we don't kink shame here. That asphyxiation collar that she put on Wesley, she may have, when one of those beasts came too close, was like, oh, maybe try this collar.
I guess it did have a collar on. Essenzia's
I
into
have
that.
I have
Mistress is
some
into that.
like I have some observation based headcanon. Oops, sorry, Will.
Ugh.
That I think that she was able to, or they were able to capture it by tricking it somehow, because she's just that devious. Like she would figure out a trap for this thing, because she's like, oh, how can I use this to, destroy my enemies? And I was deeply disheartened and upset that that scene where it faces her and, like, they're phasering the creature. I thought they cut early because Asensio was gonna get like loomed or whatever, right? Or deloomed. But sadly, I think they actually got it right, because after that we don't see it again. So I was like,
I
oh,
thought it
it
got
died.
away.
I hope so. I don't remember. I
Got
just
away.
watched it, I know,
Yeah, I
but
think it got away.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, it got away. The one that got away. That's good.
I liked how it changed colors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When it was fearful, it was one color. When it was angry, it was another color. But
Yeah.
Aaron basically explained it. I thought it might have something to do with extracting information out of Wesley's head, because who better than the loom to just eliminate the existence of anyone? Like, if you really want to just unload
In that
someone,
moment,
Yeah.
in that
that's
moment where the loom escapes with the cadets, um it like doesn't do anything to them, and it goes after her. Like it knew it was sentient enough or aware enough to know that, like, those were the bad guys that were like keeping me prisoner.
that was the whole point of the scene right before that, where they were identifying the loom as experiencing fear and loneliness. That was the
And
whole.
loneliness. Yeah, that was cool. Oh, I
See,
loved
Kristen,
how, like,
come on.
Zero conveyed that to Janeway, and they, like, all that whole thing was really well done.
Yeah.
I thought had a sad thought. What if the loom only want to get close to people, but every time they do, they wipe them from existence?
Isn't that the perfect thought,
That's
though? That's a
awful.
nightmare. But
I
yeah,
just
Like,
want a
just we
hug.
want to
yeah,
we go to these universes that are broken to get to save these people, to get close to them, and then they just
yes.
you can't. That's
Yeah.
awful.
They just
That
want a
is really
hug.
awful.
And then
Yeah,
once they get that
wipe you
hug, they're
from
like,
existence.
wait a minute, why did I come in this room?
Yeah,
And then they can't.
terrible. But they can't. You try and
On
then
the
they
Native
well,
American
that's what
That's
happens to
genius
me.
that
I
they
kiss
don't even
someone and they disappear
remember.
from existence, but
I
that's
just
another story.
you guys just made the loom superior to, like, the silence or the, or any of those other, like, horrific things. That's a pretty cool
I don't
idea.
want to throw
It's
in
what we
See,
headcanon. I
Will,
do.
had a thought that's
headcanon.
Headcanon.
See, Will,
sad.
that's all headcanon, isn't it?
That's
Isn't it?
Well,
headcanon. The
you
Luma,
see,
Isn't it?
Midas.
fear and
All
other
the
Midas.
things. I
Will did
thought it was sad.
headcanon. Will
Cannon alert.
did headcanon.
Cannon alert.
It's hardly headcanon. I had a thought that was sad. Leave me alone.
I
Blame
liked
Aaron
it,
Watney.
Will. I was there with you. I liked it.
Thank you, Krista. You're the only one I like here.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Perfectly acceptable.
All right, friends. Let's pull this into a docking bay. Final thoughts on these two episodes. We're coming to the end of it. Next week will be our final two episodes on Prodigy season 2. We will certainly be talking about the show for forever and ever. But final thoughts on these last two episodes, Joanne or Krista?
I mean, these final 4 episodes. I think I tweeted it when I watched them. They don't owe me anything. I love them, especially the next 2. I love them. Like I said, there were parts where I was like, I don't understand what's happening here or how this happened, but I'm excited about next week.
I am very much looking forward to the last 2 episodes. I'm hoping that that Wesley follows Janeway's instruction to ask his own mother how she's doing. It's just it's just been a brilliant show. It's brilliant. It's entertaining as an adult. It's entertaining as a child, and it reminds me very much of shows when I was a kid watching PBS, and the messages that were conveyed, the things that were important. You have to have a code. You have to be kind to your friends. Not everybody is an enemy. You need to communicate. All of these things are so beautifully conveyed on this show in a sci-fi framework that I really like it. I'm looking forward to next week.
Will, and then Sohel.
I think this season, as we get closer to the end, I think even like Joanne said it best, the season doesn't owe me anything. I think it's been so good that like it's so the last 2 episodes, projecting into the fact that I've already seen this. There's a reason people have talked so much about this season, because it's really the season hits Star Trek almost perfectly. And like even though it is a children's show, I think that it doesn't talk down to kids. It presents very hard questions to children to think about, and guides the thoughts of children to bring all of us closer to that kind of Star Trek future. And I like, besides just the quality of the show, like visuals, which are always fantastic, I think the writing, this could have been a live action show, like, and you wouldn't have known the difference. Like, I think the approach to it, to not thinking of it as an animated kids show, but thinking of it as like Star Trek, and like thinking it is important and having a
100%.
message is so evident that the show, we always talk about the show Trek show getting its beard in the 3rd season. This thing got a full like down to the floor Santa Claus beard, out the door, thick, light can't escape beard in the 2nd season.
Yeah.
Halfway through the 2nd season, it got it. So I think it, again, shame on Paramount for canceling it. Kudos to Netflix for picking it up and for seeing the potential in the show. And for the love of God, give us a 3rd season, because I can't imagine where they'll go with this. Like,
give us a 3rd season, and not to be a complete suck up, but Aaron, I would love to see you do a live action show as well. I think
where do we do to get that to happen?
You and your team have shown
make it show.
So give you all of the dollars to make all of the shows.
I was like, move it.
And I'm available.
Amazon money. We need that Amazon money on
we do
Prodigy.
need
Amazon money.
Jeff Bezos is a huge Star Trek fan too.
Yeah.
So
fuck billionaires, but maybe maybe a little less.
You'll be less effed if you produce a live action Star Trek show on Amazon with Aaron Walkie at the helm. Jeff Bezos, just saying.
Yes. And also, I live in LA. Just throwing that out there. Happy to help with anything. So, Hell, what are your final thoughts on this episode? These 2 episodes.
My final thoughts are all of your final thoughts, but I'll just add and say that I really think that Star Trek Prodigy is a show that could even get like movies. Like, I think it's just such a cool concept, and like the fact that like it's a continuation of Janeway and this crew's story, and through animation they don't have to be they can go in a lot of different places in time and tell stories about these characters at different points, because you don't have to like spend lots of money on like makeup and special effects to make you look like a certain age, older or younger or whatever. So that's one of the coolest things about it. But yeah, I 100% would love to see Star Trek Prodigy more, continue and keep going. I just want to take this moment in the final thought stage to say that I'm really deeply upset that there's not a way that the official Star Trek channels could celebrate Prodigy as well during all these like, kind of marketing events and stuff like that. It's like kind of, it kind of feels like from our perspective as fans, we don't like see these divisions of like, you know, one show's on Netflix or one show is, you know, here or there or whatever. I think it, you know, they should celebrate that Star Trek is so alive and it's being picked up by other networks and all that stuff. So I don't know. So I'm a little disappointed about that.
Fully agree. Trevor, any final thoughts and our tallies for the evening?
So my final thoughts are I genuinely thoroughly enjoyed these 2 episodes. I can't decide if I'm more excited to talk about the last 2 or if I'm more excited to hear Krista talk about the last 2. Just knowing that she's been sort of delaying the gratification for each episode of Salon. So one, thank you, Krista, for doing that, because it's been a joy to watch it and rewatch it through you, which is not as inappropriate as it sounds. But it's been a pleasure. And my thought about these last 2 episodes are they build in all the right ways. It's fantastic storytelling. I would put this season 2 against any season 2 of any Trek series, and I would welcome that as an entire Salon conversation. That this show not only found its beard, this show grew its beard, groomed its beard, designed its beard, taught every other show what a beard should look like in season 1, frankly, and really drove it home in season 2. And I hope there's a season 3.
And for those playing at home, beard.
Hashtag beard. Your drink word was beard. Shall I move us on to the scorecard?
Well, just a friendly reminder that one way that beard could get bigger is if we all keep streaming Star Trek Prodigy and giving Netflix the signal that we'd like more.
1000%. Hashtag beard.
Yes. Trevor, give us the
Scorecard.
tallies.
You got it. There were 2 problematic gay alerts, 2 canon alerts, 2 tosser alerts, 1 problematic ally alert, and 1 explosive saucer separation. Although I feel like this entire Salon was an explosive saucer set. But that's
Always.
just my... Yeah. In terms of bonus points, several weeks worth of bonus points to Norman for binging Salon before European travel. 20,000 bonus points to Joanne for literally roasting Sarjenka.
Yes.
5,000 bonus points and a welcome back to Sohail for achieving 5,000 followers. Congratulations, sir. And thank you for
very
birthing
much.
the chaos that is this. And 74656-A bonus points to Aaron for just being fucking cool. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for playing along. Thanks for putting up with our bullshit. We love you.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. My thanks to the panel. My thanks to our audience. A special thanks to Aaron for joining us and giving us some fun tidbits, as always. We always appreciate that. We appreciate all of you being with us. Please be sure to like, subscribe anywhere and everywhere you find us, particularly YouTube. It's super helpful. We are also now on Spotify and, of course, on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find us everywhere at Salon Trek, including Patreon. We've got a free tier, a $2 and a $5 tier. And we've got some fun benefits for folks, including one that you'll see in a moment. And I want to give a special thanks to the not 1, not 2, but 3 people that joined our Patreon during this live episode. So big thanks to Kevin, to Chris, and to Jacob. You should proceed to Transporter Room 3, and you're going to see why in just a moment. For everybody else, thank you so much. Live long and prosper, and we will see you all next week as we close out our season 2 episodes of Star Trek Prodigy next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Until then, live long and prosper.
All hands abandon ship. Proceed to the nearest evacuation zone immediately.